Hi, it's Elise here at Bowman Library with a whole new teen book spotlight. So this week we are taking some inspiration from the holiday that you probably have seen so much of stuff around you. It's been in the store since I think as soon as Christmas, if not even before Christmas. That would be Valentine's Day. But I promise you, we are not looking at romance books, anything like that. We are going to just take some inspiration from our holiday here so we can use those colors, those awesome reds and pinks, to inspire us with an awesome week with some great choices of books that have red and or pink covers. Because we're doing it by cover, that means we have a whole variety of different books for you today. We have 6 amazing titles to take a look at, so let's get started. Our first one is Concrete Rose. So the prequel to The Hate U Give, this follows Star, who's the main character in that book, follows her parents, Maverick, or Mav as he's known, and Lisa. They are in their senior year of high school, they are in love, and Mav has grown up as part of the King Lords, as his father was one of the original members and founding members of this gang. But fast forward to Mav's senior year, his father's in prison, his cousin and his friend are doing everything they can to keep him out of that life. But Mav's best friend, King, always seems to be finding ways to suck him back into the King Lords. Now, when Mav finds out he's going to be a father, though, everything changes. And he decides he needs to figure out a way to cut ties with the King Lords for good, but that's going to be easier said than done. If you enjoyed The Hate U Give, you will need to read this book. It will give you some incredible insight, some character development, and it will lead you to understand what happens in like The Hate U Give, like the first book, the second book, depending on how you're looking at this, and it will give you a deeper appreciation for that story. Now, I will also tell you, I've read both of them. I read The Hate U Give first, followed by then Concrete Rose when it came out later. I personally kind of preferred Concrete Rose a little bit better. It's just that awesome. Highly recommend it. Concrete Rose. Pumpkin. So Waylon, also known as Pumpkin by his grandmother, lives in a small Texas town named Clover City, and he sticks out like a sore thumb. He's tall, he's self-proclaimed fat, he has red hair, and he is gay and flamboyant. All he wants to do is to get to graduation, and then his plan is to move to Austin with his twin sister Clementine. All of those plans, though, start to fall around Waylon, though, and he takes all of the emotions he's experiencing and channels them into an audition tape for the fiercest of them all, which is a drag reality TV show competition, kind of inspired a little like RuPaul's Drag Race. Now, while he was planning on no one really actually seeing this tape, he wasn't going to send it in. He was just using it to get everything out. Somehow, this tape gets leaked to his whole school. Before he knows it, he has been nominated as prom queen as a joke, along with his sister's girlfriend, who has been nominated as prom king. At first, Waylon is mortified, but when he decides he's going to own it and he's going to stay in the prom competition, Waylon learns more about himself and people around him than he ever thought possible or would have otherwise. This realistic story is filled with humor, there's sadness, there's family, there's friendship. It's all about being true to yourself. Pumpkin. The City Beautiful. So Alter Rosen is a 17-year-old Jewish immigrant. He's living in Chicago in 1893, right at the height of the World's Fair. All he wants to do is make money, and he's going to do that by working as hard and as much as he possibly can because he wants to get enough money to bring his mother and his sisters over to the United States from Romania. But when Jewish boys who are living on his own block, when they start turning up dead, including his very own roommate named Yaakov, Alter finds his life getting more complicated, especially when he discovers that he has been possessed by Yaakov's soul, and that is going to continue until he figures out who the culprit is, who the murderer is to all of these crimes. He partners up with Frankie, who's another Jewish boy from his block, and the two of them set off on a mystery-solving journey to figure out what is really going on in their new city. Now, please note, okay, I do like to kind of give you a heads up. There is some dialogue which does feature some racist and anti-Semitic language, as well as some graphic depictions of violence. But they do add to the story rather than detract, especially given the time period that this is set in. If you like a good queer mystery with some fantasy, some folklore mixed in, this is a read for you. The City Beautiful. Monday's not coming. So growing up together, Monday and Claudia have been best friends for basically as long as they can remember. After spending the summer apart, though, this was the first time they were actually really truly apart. Claudia thinks it's extremely weird when Monday does not show up for the first day of school. And then it just starts to get worse as the days go by and no one knows or has any idea what the deal is with Monday, where she is. Claudia starts to ask questions, but the answers and the stories that she's told don't make sense and they don't really add up. But the worst part of it is that no one really honestly seems concerned that her best friend has gone missing. Claudia decides that she's going to need to take matters into her own hands. It's going to be up to her if Monday is going to be found. But as she starts to dig around, the secrets that she starts to uncover are things she never could have imagined, and she doesn't understand how her friend could be going through what she was going through and not even say anything. I will tell you this book is not for the faint of heart. It is a very intense read, but it is an extremely eye-opening read that will make you look at the world differently, and the ending will stick with you long after you finish and you close the final page. It will open your eyes as to you have no idea what anyone truly is possibly going through. Incredible read. Again, not for the faint of heart, but worth it. This is Monday's Not Coming. Girl Unframed. So Sydney is going to school up in Seattle, but for the summer, she is expected to go down to her movie star mother's house in San Francisco, which is the last thing she wants to do. Arriving at the airport, the only person there to pick her up is her mother's new boyfriend, Jake. Now, her mother, Lika, acts more like a child than Sydney does, and she and Jake, they have some pretty epic fights. And Sydney's in the house, witnessing all of this. And as the summer progresses and she sees their relationship, something weird starts to happen. Jake starts to become jealous of Sydney, and he starts to become extremely overprotective and almost like stalkerish of her. When Sydney meets a guy on the beach, though, and they kind of start to become like boyfriend and girlfriend, things come to a head and they explode. Part a realistic exploration of how complicated society can be for a young woman, part mystery, which you will receive clues throughout the whole story as you try to figure out what actually happened, because you're going to be kind of piecing things together as you go. The ending's just going to be like smack you in the face, kind of. You'll be wanting to know what happens. You'll fly through turning pages as fast as you can. Again, this is another kind of heavy, intense read, but it's also about a realistic thing that happens on a daily basis. Girl Unframed. And our last one for this week is The Sun is Also a Star. So it's Natasha's last day in New York City before she and her family are deported back to Jamaica, even though this is the only home she has ever really known. Okay, she basically has 12 hours. She wants to make it count. Now, Daniel is on his way to an interview that will seal his path to Yale and into the School of Medicine that he doesn't even really want to do, but of course that is the expectation of his family. They soon find themselves meeting randomly at a record store, and they instantly fall in love. And Daniel then convinces Natasha to spend the day with him, the 12 hours that she has left in New York City. But as they start to spend these hours left together, they try to start changing the directions that their lives are expected to go in. Now, this story is told through both of their points of view, so you get Natasha's and Daniel's. And if you love your realistic fiction with some heavy doses of romance, This is a must read for you. The Sun is also a star. So these are just 6 of the books we have here at the library that have some pink and or red covers. So again, a little bit of mixture, a little something for everyone this week. But come on down to the library if you're interested. Check out one of these. Or we do have a ton of other books that are just as awesome. May not have pink or red covers, but they're totally worth reading this time of year as well. Promise you. I hope you have an amazing week, and I hope you have a great Valentine's Day. Maybe so if that's your thing. And I hope you tune back for our next Teen Book Spotlight.